Hello and welcome to Bedson and Coffee Unfiltered,
where we will be discussing fitness, lifestyle, healthy eating habits, relationships, gas station performance pills, answering romantic queries. You have anything else, Tyler? Is there anything? Do you need help with anything right now? Because I feel like I'm in a position where I can help you with it.
I mean, and everything else that we come across as we go. But
That's
you know
it.
how it's going to be, right?
It's going to be unfiltered.
Yeah, so now you got the whiskey shits on top of it.
Yes, you got people just fucking crazy too,
Yeah.
man.
We rolling?
Sweet.
But funny to me is they renamed the cruise, right? So like they're just like, oh, okay, well we fucked up on that one. Let's just rename the boat. So they did that, and I was like, man, I wonder how much they charge for like this cruise specifically. It was like Carnival Sunrise, I'm pretty sure what it's called now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Laura, look it up. I gotta know. So she looks it up, and it's like $400 for 7 nights, all inclusive. And I was like, what kind of people do you think are on that cruise? Because I would not want to go to. Like,
Man, that's not
gotta be
something
a-
that I don't think there's going to be a waiting list on that one.
that's a different type of party right there, and I don't know if I can handle it.
It doesn't sound very fun to me.
Nah.
That whole situation, like there was no lights on there, and you get inside the boat. I mean, there's
no lights on there.
There's no windows.
And then
or anything.
you're out in the middle of the ocean. It's probably hot as hell.
Yeah. Did you see the other boat came up too? And
Yeah, they were doing the YMCA.
they're like videoing them.
They probably had no idea what was going on. They're
Oh,
just
it'd be
like,
terrible.
yeah.
Yeah. I seen that, and it was like on Netflix, and it just said the poop cruise, and it's like, well, this sounds.
Oh yeah, that whole train wreck stuff series on Netflix that they've been releasing is pretty hilarious. Like they did
they're crazy. Yeah.
they did the rise and fall of American Apparel, and that I didn't realize. Like, so I remember American Apparel back when I was like in high school. That was like
Well, there was
real
the store.
popular.
There was the store down here by Lexington Center.
Yeah, they still have it. I'm pretty sure.
Is it still here?
Yeah, but I didn't realize the dude that ran that place ran it like a cult.
Yeah,
Like legitimately like a cult. Like
he was losing his shit on just the workers making
Yeah.
the apparel. Like
he was
he'd go and just
hiring
lose
women
it.
as models just because like he wanted to sleep with them, and then like he would put them in a position of like they would work there, but they'd be also like his model, and it was so strange to watch this dude just running basically a giant cult.
Yeah, and it was it's almost like a sweatshop when he was walking in there, just the way he was treating everybody.
Different.
Very much, very much. So what are you saying? You want to invest in American Apparel and then get some Carnival cruise ship tickets?
I mean, honestly, that sounds like somebody's dream.
I bet after all that shit came out, I bet both of those will get like an increase in revenue.
Probably.
You know, just because
American
how things
Apparel
work.
had some decent clothing back in the day. You know, if you wanted just like a simple shirt,
You have to have some weird shit too.
they did.
They had some real weird shit.
They had some really deep V-necks, which I could see you wearing.
You see me wearing a deep
A
V-neck?
deep V-neck, like all the way down to like, so your nipples are out.
Why you guys say that? Like, why me? What are you saying?
I don't know, just something you would do.
Just something I do? Have
Yeah.
you ever seen me wear anything like that? You haven't.
I think like 10 years ago, I saw a picture of you going to post online.
10 years ago.
Yeah,
You're lying, Tyler.
Yeah.
You're lying. You're reaching now. It's a bit much.
it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll pull it up. I'll find it.
Yeah. Do
I'll
it.
find it.
Do it.
So what's new? What's new?
Oh man. Same old. Just been busy as heck with clients.
Yeah.
Traveling a bunch with my grappling clients, and have several bodybuilding clients still, but also, gosh, April I was in South America.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, had some stem cells done. Went down there to
Stem cells.
Bogotá, Colombia.
You're the only person I've ever known that's had stem cells actually done that I personally know.
Mhm. Yeah. So,
Was it sketchy?
not at all.
Really? Okay,
Really.
so imagine going to Bogotá and you're in
Everybody,
Colombia.
yeah. So like
Yeah.
everybody was, whenever I was telling people this and they were asking me, they're like, "Oh God, you're going to Colombia? You're going to?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so one of my clients actually, he spends a lot of time in Colombia. His fiance's from Colombia,
Yeah.
and so he's down there a bunch. And he was telling me about it. And actually, what kind of got me thinking was, whenever we were here talking one day, and Brian Arena was here.
Yeah.
And he and I chatted about it some. Well, anyway, at that time, I had been looking into getting a nerve ablation.
Yeah.
So because of my degenerative joint disease, like I have degenerative disc disease in my lumbar spine. And then when I got to Colombia, I found out I had some of my cervical spine as well.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I had been seeing the University of Cincinnati for that. And they kind of go in and there's like this big fucking drawn out thing where you go in, you have to do these diagnostics testings and they do like numbing agents and so on. And you go, and it's drawn out over a course of months, in which case you're not feeling any better, not anything's, you know, so, but anyway, that kind of insurance issues, I had to go in network, you know, long drawn out process. So anyway, started thinking about it, started asking a couple of clients that I had worked with that either had some stem cells done or whatever, or knew of others that had. And I talked to one in particular, and he gave me Ed Clay's phone number that owns the CPI in Tijuana.
Yeah.
And Ed was on Joe Rogan and so on, and they got a great institute down there. But anyway, I spoke to them some, and then my client and good friend Julian, he had been with Dr. Silva in Colombia, and I reached out to them. And anyway, I mean, the same week I did like an initial consult with one of their representatives just to kind of see if I was a good candidate.
Yeah.
And then I would say maybe 5 days later, I did, maybe sooner than that, I did a consult with the actual surgeon and his assistant, and we discussed everything, and they felt like it would be a good fit and it would work. Well, they sent me a quote the very next morning.
Yeah.
And I did a bank transfer and bought tickets. And 2 weeks later, I couldn't go the very next week because there was a competition I had to be at. But the very next week, I was in Bogotá, Colombia.
Yeah.
And so.
How long did you have to stay there?
So I had a full week of treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually did Monday through Friday treatments. So for me, you know, it wasn't like I go in one day and get a treatment. Like I was there for like maybe, I think I got there Saturday, and then I left out the next Saturday or something.
Yeah, so
Saturday or Sunday.
Did you get to stay there, or where is
Yeah.
like, oh wow.
Yeah. So like where I stayed at a really nice hotel that was maybe 100 yards from my clinic. So I would just walk to my clinic. Yeah. And but it was super nice. I mean, so Bogotá's a little different. Colombia's a little different. I mean, like when you see the outside of the buildings and so on,
Yeah.
like, you know, some of the streets are a little broke up and stuff, but when you get inside like that one, it was, you know, they had security around the building and then it was all gated. But once you get inside, I mean, it was as nice as any medical facility I've been in here. But the treatment, man, they took such good care of me. One of my doctors drove me to appointments off site for my x-rays.
Yeah.
And was able to translate for me and took care of me. I'd never had.
That's wild.
They took such good care of me. But yeah, when I first got there, so like that Monday, I got there Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. And then Sunday I got up, I worked out, kind of walked around Bogotá a little bit and checked things out a little bit. But, and then Monday I started my treatments. And Monday morning I went in and they did a detox serum IV. And I got one of those every single day, Monday through Friday. I got a detox serum IV, and that was just kind of to help, you know, make sure I was hydrated. I mean, there was obviously, I think the base of it was like saline, but you know, try to help get rid of any inflammation. Pretty much just prepping my body to take on everything. And then they did laser therapy on my knees. They did shockwave therapy to help break fibrosis around my spine.
Damn.
And which feels really weird if you've never had that. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like a jackhammer tinge unit. It's really weird. You can feel it like resonate through the tissue.
Interesting.
It's very odd. Actually left you a little bit sore. And then they did ultrasound on my shoulders. And they did like red light therapy.
Yeah.
And then I had a nebulizer where I would breathe in the exosomes off of the stem cells.
Yeah.
Yep. So did all of that. And then when I would finish with that, then they would send me and I would lay for an hour in a hyperbaric chamber. The next morning I noticed, like when I woke up, my fingernails had grown substantially. It was really weird. So the week that I was there, like my beard, my fingernails, everything was growing like at a really weird rate. Wow. I guess where my body was just recovering so well. It was very odd. But I did all that Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday was the treatment day. And then I had more of those therapies again on Thursday and Friday. So it was the same every day except for the treatment day on Wednesday. But again, all that consisted of like, the red light therapy, the ultrasound therapy, shockwave therapy, laser therapy on my knees, the nebulizer with the exosomes, detox serums. I think that's it. And then the hyperbaric chamber. But then the day of, so I went in, they started an IV and they pulled 18 vials of blood, 18 vials of blood, and they spun that down to get PRP.
Yeah.
So the PRP is kind of, what they use to actually suspend the stem cells in for injections. And so they pulled all that, they spun it down, got PRP. And then I go in, once they take me into the room where they do the procedure, they sedated me. It wasn't like a general anesthesia, like I didn't have to be intubated or anything. They just ran some meds through the IV and I dozed off. But they pulled a pretty large amount of bone marrow from my pelvis.
Yeah.
Which everybody says is extremely painful, but I slept through it. I mean, I dozed off. It was pretty, it was relatively pain-free. I didn't have anything. Wasn't really too bad sore from it.
Yeah.
They pulled, God, I forget how many milliliters, but it seemed like quite a bit. But they spin that down, they retrieve the stem cells from it, and that's your stem cells.
Yeah.
So, the percentage of that you're going to actually use and take on is going to be very great because it's out of your body. The only difference is those are, coming from myself, but they're not brand new stem cells. They're 39-year-old stem cells from a 39-year-old donor. So,
yeah.
So also they blended, X amount of million umbilical stem cells with that. And that's from their bank. So then they blended all that together, suspended it in the PRP for injections. They did an injection in my right ankle, both knees, both hips, my lumbar spine at L5S1 and L4L5.
Yeah.
They did an injection in my cervical spine, both shoulders, my right AC joint. And then we opted to add an intrathecal injection where it actually goes into the spinal fluid.
Yeah.
And it'll travel all the way up, with the ebb and flow of the spinal fluid. It's supposed to help with cognitive function. They use it a lot with, neurological diseases and issues and so on, but also just, overall cognitive function, brain health, and so on. But also it would actually help with the stem cell injections in my spine that they did as well. So I opted to add that. When I first came out, like the added pressure in those areas, like, you think any kind of inflammation or swelling adds, volume in that area and pressure. Well, whenever they added those injections, it increased that. So like the nerve pain was like, ooh, this kind of sucks. But I had to lie supine, like on my back for like 2 days. If I wasn't at the clinic doing therapy or getting up to eat or use the restroom, I had to lie flat on my back. No quick movements, because they didn't want me to put any pressure on those load bearing joints like my knees, my hips, and so on. Cause you think of like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If you squeeze that sandwich, it, pushes the jelly out. So they wanted to make sure all that could sit. But also too, you don't want to strain and move around because of the added fluid inside that spine. That's obviously traveling all the way to your brain. Because you can actually, I hope I'm saying this correctly, but like you can almost like herniate that brain sac where it kind of, so like you can cause some issues there.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, but I didn't get any headaches or anything.
That's good.
Like not too bad. They said that you could experience like prolonged headaches from it, but like if I got up really quickly or sat up for a second, it might feel like I had a little, like, like how it feels when you get brain freeze.
Yeah.
It felt like that for just a little bit, but then it would go away pretty quickly.
So how do you feel? How long has it been since you got it done?
So they said that I wouldn't notice much of anything between 3 to 6 months. Then I would start to notice it some.
Yeah.
And I'm getting around that 3-month mark now.
Mm-hmm.
And so like there was an immediate, like once I, I would say the second day after the injection, so like not the day of, but the next day I noticed when I got up, like it was feeling a little bit better. I was like, okay. Because there was an immediate reduction in inflammation. And then like after that, it was like, okay, maybe a week or two, I was noticing I felt a little better, and then it all faded. I was like, well, this kind of sucks,
Yeah.
But they prepped me for that. They'd already told me. They're like, you might notice a little bit out of the gate, and then it might get worse and get like it was, and it'll stay like that for a bit, because it's not like a linear progression.
Nah.
It's like this and then boom. So I've noticed like over the last couple of weeks that I've been adding more compression to my spine. So like for the longest time there, like even just getting on an empty hack squat, just that compression on my spine.
Yeah.
And it would, like the rest of the day, couple of days, like it would just be a lot of nerve pain. And like over the last couple of weeks, I've been working out really easily with 315 on squats and not had any issues at all.
Yeah.
Been deadlifting some, no issues. Back's been feeling a lot better, feeling a lot stronger. Joints have been feeling better. And again, I'm just now kind of getting in that window where I'm starting to notice it. So I'm very hopeful. But, overall, I'm very happy with how far it's come so far, and it's given me a lot of hope as to, the coming months. So I expect if it continues to progress in the way that it has, I should be feeling, pretty good over the next while. So, we'll see how that goes. But the main thing is I'm able to train back a lot better now.
That's good.
Yeah. And I've noticed like strength was always.
That's one thing that I've always, like we've talked about for years, is like if you bring your back up and you're able to train it and actually develop that area, like you can do pretty much anything you want now.
Yeah. So like what happened is like after I ran out of range of motion, like I started noticing atrophy in my back because I couldn't get my elbow past that center line. Mm-hmm. It was very difficult for me to get any kind of abduction in my shoulder or external rotation. So, even though my back was extremely strong pulling, it was very hard to build a lot of width and after a while I started to atrophy. And, it's neither here nor there, just something that I couldn't help. But now I'm noticing like that's coming back very well. Just being able to actually train and move those muscles again. But with that, strength was always pretty natural for me. I was always, pretty strong. Yeah. And I'm noticing that, I was always at the liberty of my joints, even with that, even as much as I did lifted and squatted and benched, it was always like a balancing act to make sure I didn't get out of my groove and upset a joint. But I'm noticing now that the strength is coming back pretty easy. Things are feeling pretty easy. Yeah. And just being mindful of that, not pushing too quickly. But it's feeling good. When I first got down there, we did like 16 x-rays. Yeah. And that kind of revealed some stuff that I hadn't seen. So I may have to look at another procedure for my right shoulder. I'm in talks with an ortho for that because there is like a little hook on the end of the acromion there that they may have to do something with, but couldn't feel it before because I didn't have the range of motion to actually get up to hit that impingement. Yeah. And now that I do,
now you can feel it.
Now I can feel it. Oh, and it's causing some, some issues there, but man, it just is what it is, like you.
Sounds like it was a worth it experience though.
The stem cells certainly were. Yeah. It may be one of those things where I go back yearly for some sort of preventative maintenance. Yeah. I want, and they did an IV of stem cells as well for systemic. Yeah, I forgot that, but we actually added that too, where they ran an IV for, just like full systemic. So that might be something where I go back yearly just to do something like that. But so far I'm very happy with it and I'm very excited to see where I'm at in the next 3 months. Yeah. But it's already helped my training, but more than anything, like my quality of life.
Yeah, like that's key, man.
Like if, so I think when I first started noticing joint issues, I think I was 16. I had a shoulder issue, and I was 16 because I just got my license and I could drive to the physical therapy place by myself. Mm-hmm. My mom took me a couple times, and then I got my license and I could go myself. But since then, like it's kind of just been one of those things. And then I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis and degenerative joint disease. But this is, so everything I did prior to that, the grappling, the fighting, the powerlifting, the bodybuilding, everything was with that, in the background. So it sucked for my athletic career, but it gave me a lot of insight as a coach
Yeah.
Like my understanding of body mechanics, I'd put against anybody because the physique that I was able to build and the performances that I was able to have with that, I had to really make the most of what I had.
Yeah.
So understanding body mechanics to that degree really helps me, with clients, make them more efficient.
That's one thing I will say. You're one of the only people I trust to give my clients advice on.
I appreciate
lifting.
that. Thank you.
And that's, I did actually send you a guy, like I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
Goes to your gym.
Yeah,
and
be happy to
he
help
just
him.
wants some extra help, making sure he does the movements properly. And I was like, Eli'd be perfect for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's, I think a lot of times, man, like sometimes people just like, you look at lifting on the outside and you're like, okay, well, he's just picking it up and putting it down. Well, there's a lot of things, that go into that. There's, like you can just making sure that, joint stacking and moving mechanically correct.
And everybody's slightly different. So it's nice
lever
to
lengths.
see
I had a
in
guy
person.
come in from Louisville the other day, a guy that I coach, a grappler, great grappler, my friend Marvin. And, he has like super long legs.
Yep.
And he was trying to squat, with a shoulder width stance and trying to get low. And it's like, well, unless you elevate his heels and give him extra range of motion in his ankles, he's not going to be able to without his knees going out so far that his heels come off the floor. Now his knees are compromised.
Yep.
And, having a basketball background, he was kind of quad dominant, so teaching him how to open his stance more and then using accessory movements to bring the quads in, still allowing him to squat to build that overall power. And in this wider stance, bringing in a more abductor and hip, which is going to carry over into his grappling game because he likes playing guard. So strengthening all that's going to be great. And then, so it's just, we're all human. So we're all going to move similarly, but there are, windows of that, how deep are your hip sockets, and there's a lot of things to consider whenever you're looking at that, but ideally learning to move efficiently. Sometimes like you see in a powerlifting meet or especially a weightlifting meet where the lifts are so freaking technical. The strongest guy doesn't always lift the most weight. The fastest car doesn't always win the race. If you're a better driver, you'll beat me in a less efficient, in a less fast car because you are more proficient as a driver. And learning how to operate that machine, your body, with more efficiency allows you to get the most out of it.
Yeah.
Do things that you thought you maybe couldn't.
No.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, so I see a lot of people at the gym and they're doing different exercise and they're always struggling to do, figure out what's right for them. And like you said, like one of the easiest things is like sometimes people need to elevate their feet or elevate their heels
on
to make
squats.
sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And that's such a simple thing that most people don't even think about.
It really is, especially when we're looking to activate the quads more.
Yep.
And then too, you have to consider the knees too, like varus and valgus. If the knee, you see, somebody, if their abductors are weak, their knees are going to cave in.
Yeah. It's the last thing you want to see on a rep.
Yep.
That's
very. I was teaching a seminar a month or two ago and I actually had a guy who had underactive adductors. So his knees were caving out and his hips were having external rotation.
interesting.
That's not something you see as often.
Very rare.
So I taught him how to activate his adductors before he squatted. So what I had him do there was I just had him do a wall sit, just a wall sit, and had him pinch a light medicine ball between his knees.
Yeah.
And just hold that for 20, 30 seconds, rest for a second, do it again, just to activate his adductors. And that allowed him to hold his legs in place to do a, more shoulder width squat without, that forced external rotation in his hips. And that allows you to, sometimes like you'll have people, they struggle to squat a little narrower for quad activation.
Yeah.
Or even just a shoulder width stance. And unless there's a prohibiting factor there, like they have poor ankle mobility or they just have ridiculously long lever length, sometimes you can just, turn those adductors on a little bit more and allow them to not over exaggerate that external rotation in the hip. And then you can turn those quads on a little easier.
Yeah.
So again, that's a less common thing, but again, there's a spectrum, and people will fall differently inside of that. It's just a matter of knowing enough to cater to each person's individual needs whenever we're trying to discuss proper mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Good talk.
Good talk.
Yeah. Lots of useful information there. And if you're ever thinking about getting stem cells in Bogotá, it's safe.
Man, I had a great time there and the food was awesome.
Really?
And it was cheap.
What kind of food did they have? I mean,
So honestly,
give me an
dude, like
example.
I was super happy because all the food that was made available to me were things that I was eating already.
yeah,
So I would get up every morning and I'd go downstairs at the hotel, and the guy would, he'd ask, huevos. I said, "Sí, tres. Let me get 3 eggs," and they'd make me 3 eggs over easy. I'd have that, and then on the table out there, they'd always have a variety of fresh fruit, which tasted entirely different than what we have here.
oh yeah,
It was so good. So I would just have normally my breakfast there. I would have the eggs, I would have some fruit, and then on my way to the clinic, there was a really nice little smoothie shop there, and I
Yeah.
would get a sugar-free protein shake just to make up for the amount of protein, so that I didn't have to eat like a ton of fat to get enough protein. But
yeah,
just eggs. So I'd do that, and that was kind of my morning thing. But a lot of their traditional food there, like each day I was eating steak, rice, eggs,
yeah.
and it was so
Everything
good,
I like
man.
to eat. That's my
Yeah.
breakfast every morning is
Yeah.
steak, rice, and eggs.
Yeah, man, I love eggs and rice.
Yep.
And
Eggs and rice with meat.
yeah, you can't beat it, dude. I don't do a ton of fiber.
Yeah,
Like I don't feel good if I eat a ton of fiber. So a lot of times, man, in place of oats for breakfast, I'll do rice.
yeah,
And I love eggs and rice. Like it goes down easy. I digest it well.
yep.
I feel good. So, but I'll do that. And then normally I'll add something to make up for my protein needs there, either a shake or even
Yeah,
egg whites or something. But yeah, man, the food there was awesome. Had some really good sushi while I was there.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything. Walked around the city a whole bunch. They, like they say, that they talk about crime there and all these things. And obviously, I mean, you can, if you're looking for any issues, you can find them about anywhere, but there's little things there that, you don't necessarily want to have your phone out on the street.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people on bikes. There's a lot of snatch and grab type theft.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, if you've got a really nice iPhone, you're out there, just somebody rides by on a bike and snatch it.
snatch it and rides off.
But, I didn't have any issues. I mean, it's like anywhere else. You just keep your head on a swivel and walk around like you know where you're going. It's not a big deal. But
Yeah,
everybody's really kind. Didn't have any issues. I walked all over the place. It was really nice, man. The traffic there was pretty wild.
I can see that.
Yeah, it was almost like one of the Uber drivers compared it to like India. Like you'd be in certain areas, and I mean, if there was 2 lanes of highway, there'd be 3 lanes of cars and motorcycles cutting in between all of it. Yeah.
That sounds like
And-
hell.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah,
But, and also like your license plate number determined what days of the week you could drive. So so they were doing this whole thing. Like if you had an electric car, you could drive daily.
yeah,
They didn't have Teslas. They had BYD. Build your dreams. It's like a Chinese Tesla.
yeah,
And that's what my surgeon had. And his assistant would drive me to my offsite appointments in that.
yeah,
Pretty nice car. But if you had an electric car, you could drive daily. If you had a motorcycle, you could drive daily.
yeah.
They tried to do that with motorcycles and they about burned the fucking city down. They lost it because everybody rides motorcycles.
Yeah,
And, but yeah, so I think the loophole was if you had an armored car, an electric car, or a motorcycle, you could drive daily. If you didn't, then and they changed it by the year. So you can't try to outsmart the system and buy like 2 tags. But I think when I was there, like odd numbers were whatever days of the week, and then even numbers were the other days.
interesting.
Yeah. And it was like to cut down on emissions or whatnot, but that's all bullshit. I'm sure it just comes back to taxes and revenue. But,
Yeah,
but anyway, yeah. So, but we, Ubered a few places, went to like the Salt Cathedral. It was pretty cool. It was like it used to be a salt mine, and whenever it shut down, they turned it into a giant cathedral.
yeah,
So like you're down in this giant mine cave, and there's different areas of this cathedral and so on down there carved into the stone. So it was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
overall, it was a really beautiful area.
no,
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, people were really nice, so I had no issues.
that sounds awesome.
I liked it. I mean, I would
Yeah.
go back. Julian was there all the time. I think his fiance's from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah, I was stuck in New Jersey last week.
I was in New Jersey in
Yeah.
2018 for the Universe.
Yep, I'm there every year for Universe, and
Yep.
it's not my favorite place to go. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
You gotta fly into New York,
Mhm.
and then you gotta drive like 30 minutes through traffic to get to Teaneck, New Jersey. But New
Yep,
Jersey's
Teaneck.
really interesting, man. Like always forget there that you're not allowed to fill up your own gas.
You can't pump your gas in New Jersey.
That's so different.
It's different. Yeah.
And like, so you pull up to the gas station and they have an attendant come out and then they'll pump your gas for you. And then they usually expect a tip.
Yeah. Well, you used to, like you had that here too. You'd have, remember some pumps will say full service and some will say self-service. And if you pulled up to full service, like an attendee'd come out.
Yep.
When I was a kid, they'd come out and you'd have them check your oil, check your transmission fluid, all that stuff. They top it off if you need to.
Yep. And that's, it was different there.
Certain I mean, there's like, I went up and stayed and trained at Ocean City BJJ there with Tom DeBlas in 2019. I went up to see a WBFF show before I'd done one, and I enjoyed my stay there. Like, it was really nice. Had some really awesome training, and then went to that show. It was in Connecticut, so went there to stay and train with Tom, and then drove into Connecticut later. But that was different. Connecticut, like that hotel, the casino that it was at was the Mohegan Sun. It was like you just drove out in the middle of the woods forever, and then finally it opened up, and here's a giant casino.
There's a casino
on the Indian reservation.
Yeah, that's wild.
But yeah, that area that I was at, Ocean County, was really nice. Yeah. Teaneck for the universe. I forget what hotel's that at.
Oh God, it's like a Marriott, I'm pretty sure. But
I think you're right.
It's a pretty big hotel.
It is. I mean, it's a big show.
It's a huge show. That's probably the biggest universe I've seen and most competitive, which is wild, which is, rightfully so. Universe puts on a good job, which
for sure.
A lot of people don't know either. The bodybuilding there is still natural. So
if you went over all, you drug test, right?
Yep. So the bodybuilding for the open, like master's classes, you can use whatever. They don't care. But in the open, you have to be natural. So it's very interesting.
Tyler, or was it got Labrada? Was it, or no? Who's he won it, and then he went on and got his pro card elsewhere.
I'm trying to think.
You remember? You know what I'm talking about?
Probably.
Yeah. His dad was it Lee Labrada's son?
Hunter
Labrada. Yeah. He won it, and then he won overall there, and then went on and got his pro card after.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was natural then.
You wonder?
Yeah. Because I just felt like Hunter's pretty big.
Well, I mean, if you won there, you won your pro card though, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he went on elsewhere and got his pro card.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So he went on, he won that, I think, and then he got his pro card after. I want to say that's exactly how it happened.
Interesting. Yeah, because I know only overall winner there gets a pro card. And the guy that won it was like, I saw him backstage after he'd won, and he was like 20 years old.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, that's
crazy genetics and work ethic right out of the gate. Yeah.
Yep. But that show was pretty good, man. Like, Laura got her first pro.
Congrats. I've seen that. That's awesome.
Amber Richardson. They've been working together almost 3 years now. So that's been really cool to see.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That come to fruition, so really happy because I know how much work they both put in for that.
Oh yeah. For certain.
And then I got one spot away again, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that happen so many times, but every time we come back and we win the next time, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But those second places hurt more than like an 8th place.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also, it's like you see how close you are, so you know that you're doing things correctly, and that you're just right there on the cusp of it. It's just a matter of continuing. Like, just keep doing what you're doing.
Just come back.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
That's all. That's basically what they're saying. They're basically telling you when you get second place at one of these national level shows, and you don't get your pro card, they're like, you're basically a pro. You just got to come do it again.
Exactly.
And
in all seriousness, at that point too, it's just kind of the hand you were dealt. Like if you'd have drew a different class and there's one less guy in it, you'd be pro. You know what I'm saying? And that's sometimes that's it. It's just everybody's so damn close.
Corey Young, he got, one spot away like 5 times before he finally got it. And I remember there was one time we were at nationals and there were 49 guys in his class and he got 3rd place and it was top 2 pro cards. And I was like, what do we need to do? And it's just like literally all it was is like, you just got to show up at the right show.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it really is that simple. It's
that's
like,
what national level is, man.
Everybody's so good. You draw a certain class and it is, I mean, I've seen so many guys that were pro caliber and, it just takes time and it just takes, sometimes it could be just the class that you're in. It's like somebody in there's absolute killer and
that's
it's going to go on to the next stage.
My people these days, I'm like, hey, I can make you look the best you possibly can, but I can't control who shows up.
No, and you can't, I mean, it's not like another sport where you can train for an opponent. Like, if you're in a fight and you see this guy's strong suit or whatever, then, you can prepare for that. But I mean, in a bodybuilding show, I mean, it's a pageant, it's
Yep.
like just how you look.
Yep.
So you can't really, you're not really defending against someone else or trying to create an offense or a defense against somebody as much as it is just being the absolute best you can be.
Yeah, you can't really control
Yeah.
anything. It's all subjective in the end too.
It
so
is.
it's what they like.
The year that I done Universe, I was working out 3 weeks beforehand, and I was working out on incline
Yeah.
with 315, and it just came down odd, and I popped my right pec. And
Worst timing.
yep. And for like the last leg of that prep, I couldn't really train much chest or shoulders. So, and you're that dry and you're eating that little, like, when I come in, it was obvious that I'd lost fullness in my shoulders and
Yep.
chest. And the feedback was, you just keep working on your chest and your shoulders. I was like, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys. So
That's one thing I always tell people. If you can't fully train when you're in prep and you have some kind of lingering injury, it's going to show when you get lean.
well, everything was feeling okay. It was just one of those freak things.
Yeah.
And of course, my, shoulders being as tight as they were, it was always a balancing act anyway. But yeah, just one of those freak things. I mean, it just happened. But yeah, it was that feedback. What do you do but laugh? I was like,
Nah.
well, all right, guys, thanks.
That reminds me of Jagger when we did nationals, and he wasn't able to train like squat or deadlift really because he had torn his ACL, and he didn't want to tell me because he didn't want to quit.
Sure.
Which I respect to an extent. Like I get it. Like we get our injuries and we want to finish out what we started. But at the end, when he finally told me, he's like, man, like I've been injured this whole time. I probably shouldn't have done the show.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Your glutes aren't as full. Your legs aren't as full when you can't.
Well, yeah, you can't.
When you're used to squatting, 600 pounds and doing
Sure.
sets of 8 and whatever you're used to doing,
Mhm.
and you can't do that at all, it's not going to stay there.
Yeah, you'll
So,
lose that density and that
yeah.
look. And I mean, I think at that point too, it's like how far out something happens. I mean, if that would
Yeah.
have happened to me, 8-10 weeks out, of course, I'm not going to do the show. But at 3 weeks out, it's like, well, we'll see. We'll ride it out and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm already.
I'm more respecting of, I've got a lot of clients that are very mature these days.
Yeah.
And if it's not the right time to prep or there's something going on, they're more likely to be like, hey, it might not be the best time right now. And I really appreciate when people do
You
that.
have to be.
I had a girl that we were originally going to do a show here in a couple weeks, and her mom's going to have a surgery. And she was like, hey, I need to make sure I take care of my mom. Probably not the best time to do this. I was like,
That's
yeah.
respectable. You
Yeah. And
have
I was
to.
like, that's great. We can go ahead and make more time to grow and improve now.
Yeah.
And we can just plan something maybe spring or summer next year. And
yeah,
that's what you need to do as an athlete is
For sure.
be honest. If it's not the right time, use that time to, still maybe get
To
lean,
improve.
get
To
lean
improve.
and get in a good spot and grow.
yeah. And like having more time to improve is never going to be a bad thing.
Nah.
And I think a lot of times, like whenever you're in prep, I mean, you're just kind of revealing the work you did anyway.
Yeah.
Like you're not, it's the off season and given you're taking the same, approach to that you are your prep. Sometimes people get a little more laxed in their off season, but that's where you're building and that's where you're improving.
Yeah.
You
I
know, so-
always try to convince people to take an elongated off season. And
It helps.
it's so necessary. And it's hard to get some people to do that because they really want to
Mhm.
compete. But the longer you take away from stage in between show, the better you're going to be.
I think a conversation I had with a client of mine the other day, Andrew Tyndall and I were talking,
Yeah.
and people will, associate their reward with that outcome.
Mhm.
And, they'll associate their status, their reward, everything with that outcome in that show. And your reward is in your work,
Mhm.
and I think it takes a certain point to get to that. And I think that there does have to be some obvious outcomes for you to get comfortable with that and have something to hang your hat on. But at a point, like for myself, I've had the, fortune to compete at different sports and so on. And I've done well enough at those that I can be proud of that. But like at this point now, it's like, the work itself, continuing to do that and my work with my clients and so on, like that's the reward. It's like whenever you're looking at things, okay, I've got this longer off season. All right,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to be doing this regardless. This is what I'm doing, and looking at that the same way. It's like, okay, this is something I get to do. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. And seeing that is like, okay, that's it. The work that I'm putting in here, this is what says everything. That award, that, that medal, that trophy or whatever is just, I mean, that's icing on the cake, sure. But
Yeah.
whenever you start looking at it like this process is what it is more than just this one singular outcome, that doesn't necessarily, determine my worth.
Nah.
The work that I've put in and what I'm willing to do and the extent that I'm willing to go to, that determines my worth more than, because again, it's all subjective.
Oh, Andrew Tyndall looks pretty big right now.
That guy's doing great, man.
He's doing good, man. He takes it
doing great.
serious. You can tell.
He does,
And
and
he's
that's
quiet. Like he just does what he's supposed to do.
that's
and
it, man. Like
It's what you need. Like I really appreciate that in an athlete is like, just do the work.
that's what I
Just do
hashtag
the
every
work.
time. I hashtag it all the time. Do the work. Just do the work.
That's it.
Like you don't have to, you don't always have to make some big elaborate post like I'm doing this and I'm doing that and it's da 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 da. It's just fuck. You can see it. You can see it. That's the thing. I can see on you. You can't hide. You wear in public what you eat in secret,
Yep.
and you can't fake strength. Lifting, fitness, all this stuff is so honest. That's why the sports that I get the honor to work with, bodybuilding and powerlifting and grappling and fighting, they're so fucking honest.
Yeah.
Like I can look at you and know if you're on point with your diet. Like you can tell me all these things, man, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. You take your shirt off, I know.
One
Yeah.
thing I think it's funny too is like, you have to realize how some athletes work and motivation. So I have some, and it's like, I'll tell them like, hey, you're not progressing enough. You're not going to be able to do this show if you don't pick it up. And then all of a sudden they start, dropping 2 or 3 pounds a week. And it's just, you got to give them that thing like, hey, you're not doing something hard enough.
Yeah.
And usually I found it's cardio. Is they're not pushing their cardio hard enough.
Yeah. Sometimes
Half
when you see
doing
people
that.
back off with anything, it's normally
or they're
cardio.
backing off on training. They're not training hard enough, which
Real
I think
long
is,
rest periods.
yeah, that or they're going way too light in weight,
Yeah.
and that's another thing I see. But also it's funny because like I like to do a free meal and prep as long as I can,
Sure.
as long as it's working.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very good for the mental.
It
But
is.
some people it just doesn't work very well with. But what's funny is I've had some where I'm like, hey, like we're gonna throw this out. Chances are next week, we're not getting fast enough progress. And then all of a sudden they get some crazy progress every week.
yeah.
It's like they stepped it up another notch or
I got
something.
that carrot on the string.
Yeah,
You
and
don't
I'm
lose
like,
that
they're like, I
reef,
don't want to lose that. So it's funny, man, because I've noticed that quite a few times. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
okay, now you're dropping. We'll keep it in there.
Yeah. And training intensity is something that I think some people lose sight of. Like heavy is a very relative term.
Yeah.
And a lot of times with guys, if you tell them to do a set of 5, they'll pick something they can barely do for 3. And you tell them to do a set of 15, they'll pick something they could have done for 20 and stop
Yep.
at 15. Heavy is relative. If I do a set of 15, that means it was so heavy I couldn't do 16.
Yeah,
Because if I could have done 16, I'd have fucking done 16.
exactly.
So making sure that, and that's why like, I remember like going back and forth, like from doing a physique show and then later doing like a bench press competition. Like, how did you bounce back from that? It's like, cause I lifted with the same intensity.
Yep.
I'm not going to lose strength if I'm still pushing that hard. Even if I'm not doing a set of 5, I'm doing a set of 12 to 15 or something, but I'm doing everything I can fucking do for that 12 to 15. So that you're not going to lose strength that way, and taking that same approach is how it's done. It's how it's done.
Yeah.
Heavy is relative. Everything you do should feel heavy. Everything you do should feel difficult,
Yeah.
every time.
So before we go, how was your 4th of July?
It wasn't bad. God, what did I do? I was in Sandusky for a jiu-jitsu
Oh,
competition.
nice.
Yeah. So I didn't do nothing for the 4th except just watch Deegan compete. He did his first jiu-jitsu comp.
It's okay. I was stuck in a hotel room and I couldn't see even any fireworks.
Yeah. Did you make fireworks in the hotel room yourself?
Nah, I had Laura send me videos of them. She was in Cincinnati,
Oh.
parents' house, so
Gotcha.
she was enjoying it, but I couldn't see anything, bro. That's what's crazy. That's the first 4th of July I've ever had in 33 years that I have not seen a firework.
I don't.
in person.
I mean, I seen
that
some
was kinda-
driving. Like when I was driving, there'd be random ones.
I didn't see anything. I didn't even hear anything.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I was. I was at a home too in the middle of New Jersey, and you couldn't. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was like they didn't celebrate it.
Yeah.
But different.
Yeah.
Different. I wouldn't want to live there. I'll be honest. If you live in
Yeah.
New Jersey, respect to you, but
Thank you guys for tuning in.
This has been Bedson and Coffee Unfiltered. Thank you guys for listening.
Make sure to go follow us on social media.